Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Katie for those who have for some reason forgotten, and this is Books for Us. So I filmed this last week, but I didn't like how it turned out, so I'm refilming it, and hopefully it's better. Anyways, so what I'm going to be doing today is another TBR video. I've done a few of these in the past. I usually do themed ones, like my monthly ones. I'll do either my favorite books of that month or books I want to read over that month. Or I know for Reading Rush, I did a TBR for that. I did a TBR for my DNA as well. But I've also done a TBR slash vlog about the 5 oldest books on my Goodreads shelf. So, based on both of that and based on what I've done, so the 5 oldest ones, I did the TBR as well as I just talking about them in the whole video. I really didn't like that format for me. I liked the DNA one better a bit. So that's kind of what I'm going off of today. But so let me tell you what I'm doing, because I haven't told you what I'm doing yet. So it was a few weeks back now that I was looking through Goodreads, and there's a feature if you go to your friends or who you're following page, either one, I mean both work for this. You can see who you're friends with or who you're following, and there's a little button that says compare books. So I was glancing through that for one of the people I follow, and I wanted to see what I have not read, but what they had read, and kind of seeing what they had rated it to see if I wanted to read any of those books right away. Because, Reading Rush was done, Pride Month was done, it was into August. I'm like, I don't really know what to read next. So I was kind of going through that and seeing if I wanted to read any of those. And then I thought, well, what if I took the top 5 they've rated high? So that, again, compare my TBR to their already have read list, pick their 5 top rated books and read them. And then I had the brilliant idea, I don't know why, to go through and compare compare my TBR to every single person on my list that I am friends with or am following, to their have read. So everyone has read these books, but I haven't. And I put those all into the list, and I saw which were like the top ones that the most people have read, but I haven't read yet. So that's kind of my TBR right now. I will say I did this, let me check, August 29th. So that was 2 weeks ago now? About 2 weeks ago now. So again, I meant to do this TBR last week, but I didn't like how I was filming it. So the book, I've already read a few of them that were lower down on the list, but my goal right now is to read the top 5 that most people have read that I haven't read yet. So, for example, the top book that a lot of people have read, 33 people have read, but I haven't read yet, is, drumroll, no surprise, The Great Gatsby, by F. Scott Fitzgerald. It is about, I've seen the movie, but I honestly don't remember it because I saw it with a friend and I wasn't really paying attention to the movie, honestly, because we were in college and in the dorm rooms and doing other stuff, homework or reading or writing or whatever. It was kind of background noise. But I know this is set in the 1920s, and it's all about this guy figuring out what his neighbor does and how he got there. That's all I remember about this book. So this came in with 33 people had read it, but I have not read it yet. So there's that one. The next one on this list came out at 26 people had read it, but I have not yet. And that is The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. This is about a freshman in high school writing letters to an unnamed person who I believe goes to his school, but I'm not sure. It sounded near the end like they went to school together, but they didn't really talk to each other, so they didn't really know who the other person was. But it's just like the main character who's male trying to figure out their first year in high school and not really having any friends until he goes to one of the football games and sits near a brother and a sister who becomes friends with, and kind of what happens over the next year of school and the highs and lows and all of that fun stuff. I will say though, this is a good month to read this as well as The Great Gatsby because they're both banned books. And September is banned. Well, a week in September is banned book week, which I talked about in my last video. But that is that. Anything else about this? No. Okay. The next one, I don't have a copy yet because I'm getting it from my library, and that is The Night Service. Now, I know a few people on BookTube like this book a lot. I was just watching someone who likes it a lot, but again, I'm not sure what that one's about. I believe it's about the circus that comes at night, like the title suggests, but no one knows it's come. No one in town knows it's coming until it shows up, basically, and then stuff happens. Again, I don't know much about that book, honestly. That book, The Night Circus, came in at 17 people had read, but I haven't. And then book number 4 is the next two books, book number 4 and 5, they both came in at 15 people had read them, but I had not. The first one is The Maze Runner by James Dashner. Let me take that out. This is about a boy who wakes up in an elevator, and the elevator opens to a maze that keeps changing, and he meets up with other boys who also don't remember who they are besides their name, and it's ever changing. And no one's ever gotten out of the maze, as far as I know. But that's this one. And then number 5 is, again, at 15 people have read it, but I have not. Shadow and Bone, which is Lee Bardugo. It's book number 1 in the Grishaverse trilogy. Now, I've read Six of Crows, as well as the second one in that duology. And before reading this, I should say, I read the duology before reading this. I still understood the story. I still understood what was going on. But I feel like when I read this book, it'll set up the world a little more, because this was like the first book in the Grishaverse. And I will say, the other 2 books, all 3 books of the series are on this list. Let me see. Siege and Storm has 11 people have read it, and then Ruin and Rising, 9 people have read it. So they are on this list. I kept the whole list, and so that I could, check stuff off when I'm done. But this is, I'm not sure. Let me see. It's about being Grisha, which basically gives you powers, and they're kind of they're not afraid, but feared. They're feared. Some people fear them, which then leads to a war. So then that should be interesting, seeing what happens with the war. because the war is referenced in the duology, the Six of Crows duology. So, that being said, those are kind of the books I am planning to read next. Is the top 5 books that the most people have read that I haven't read yet. As well as I will be reading other books off this list. Maybe just not now, but maybe later. But we'll see what happens. um, yeah, that is all I have for you guys today. If you have any questions for me, like how to put this list together or how to compare your books, let me know in the comments below. I will link my Goodreads again, so if you wanted to compare your books to mine, feel free to do that. Yeah, there's a way you can compare all your books, everything you've read, everything you've both read, everything you've both not read, everything you've read but they haven't read, everything you haven't read but they've read. It's really cool. I really liked it. I like it. It's cool to see kind of the difference in books that people have or haven't read. So with that, I will see you guys later. Bye.